Yo, what's up everyone? Like I promised, I played a bunch more of Marauders over the last couple of days during the 5-day beta that we just had. And in my first video, my first thoughts video, I said that I was going to do that and then provide you guys with a more detailed experience and idea about the game and when the beta is over, which is right now. So let's dive into that. I feel like in my first video, I may have been a little bit too skeptical about the game and I may have been a little bit too harsh about it. But honestly, over playing it the last couple of days, I really did start to notice that the gunfights in the game are very fun. When I got into it a little bit more, I started getting used to it a little bit more. I definitely had very fun experiences with the gunfights. They felt impactful, they felt fun. I got to test out a couple of different guns and they all felt kind of good. There's almost a certain beauty to the simplicity of having to fight it out with iron-sighted guns when you're doing like these big fights. And it gets really intense when you go into like merchant ships or capital ships or cruisers or any of that, where there is AI, but there's also players coming for it, and it's a total clusterfuck and just pure chaos, and you really need to be on your toes in it. That gives a couple of really fun and high intensity, high octane action situations, which was really fun, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Basically, whenever I got into PvP in the game, I always had good fun. And we have to be honest about this. This is the core aspect of any shooter game. If you're shooting a gun and it doesn't feel like you're shooting a gun, but it feels like you're shooting rice pellets at somebody, you're not going to be having fun, because that is not the feeling you want from a shooter game. And that is something that Marauders gets right. The guns feel good, the guns feel unique because they all have like their own little kinks and their own little recoil patterns, and you can feel the difference between several guns, which is great. And another thing that I was ranting about a little bit in the first video was about the audio, and how the audio didn't really seem to have any occlusion with it, which made it really hard to know whether something was close to you or far away from you, whether it was in the next room or whether it was in like 3 rooms over. And like I also already expected in the video, that is something that you do kind of get used to a little bit, although also just not completely. I still think that the audio isn't as bad as I was talking about in the first video, in my first thoughts video. It does get a little bit better as you get more used to it, but I still think that when it comes to audio, the game still has a lot of work to do and can do it better in several ways. Like occlusion on the sounds is just one of the things that they have to put in. They need to give you a better idea of what is close and what is further away. And then another thing that I found really freaking exciting was starting a match in a rust bucket, seeing a light cruiser, breaching that, and stealing that thing. Just shooting everyone down, gunning any other captains down that were going for it, gunning down the AI that was on it, and then being able to steal that thing and fly away with it. That was probably, over the entire weekend, one of my favorite moments, and one of the things that felt really good and really rewarding, getting out of the map with that beautiful new ship. But, and this also kind of needs to be said, that was one of the only moments that I was really excited about looting something in the game, because other than that, you occasionally loot a pretty rare gun, and that feels kind of nice, but all of the other items all feel kind of bland and unexciting, because you know, oh, cool, I'm finding some leather straps. Oh, I'm finding a couple of metal plates. Cool, I will be able to craft another armor set, or I'll be able to craft another crate with that. While those things are useful, they're not the type of loot that will excite most people, you know? So that's something that was kind of lacking. Occasionally you'll find a big gun and you'll be like, ooh, this is going to be fun to use. But like I said, the most exciting thing was stealing the ship, and frankly, in all of the hours that I've played, it didn't happen all that often. Now, maybe that is something that is simply because it's a beta and everyone did not have a lot of time to play, so there were not many people flying around in bigger ships. So, you know, there's a chance that when the game actually launches and we'll be playing it for a while, that problem is going to go away and you're going to be able to steal bigger ships like all the time. That could definitely be very fun. I would like to see, however, some more exciting things to be able to be looted, like for example in the Cycle Frontier, when you shoot a Jeff and he drops a head, or You find an exotic weapon in the armory stash, things like that. Things that get you like, oh my god, yes, I wanted this so bad. And then, you know, moving on, being happy, endorphins, all that good stuff. Like finding a GPU or a Bitcoin in Tarkov, stuff like that. Just things that make it go like, ooh, this is a good one. Because I feel like that is something that games like this just need that. What I also noticed that was after putting some hours in, the game does really start to feel very much the same almost every time you drop in. I was spawning in the same areas of the map all the time, and very quickly you're following the exact same route, knowing that that's where you're going to find some of the loot. In this beta, the AI enemies were extremely dumb and they really did not provide any real challenge, which means that unless you run into other players, a run can be very quickly turned into just filling up your bag, spending a couple of minutes flying out of the map, into the wormhole and just doing it all over again, which leaves a bit to be desired because that's not why we go in. We want to have some fun, we want to shoot some things up, and if there's no other players there, then at least give us some AI that's going to give us an interesting gunfight. Not this style of AI that just runs around like a headless chicken and gets shot in the back. And now this kind of all boils down into the same point, which is that there's just not enough content around in the game right now. There's not enough to do. I was watching streamers over the beta, etc, etc. I was reading discussions about it, and there's a lot of people saying that in this 5-day beta they were actually able to max out everything in the game, and that just tells you right then and there that there's not enough to do. If you can finish the game in 5 days, that's not good, because this is probably going to be a game that's going to be seasonal, it's going to have wipes, etc, etc. If people finish everything that you have to do in 5 days time, that does not bode well for the longevity of a wipe. Now, don't get me wrong, I think what they have in the game right now is a really strong base to build out from, and what they have I do enjoy. Like I said, the gunfights, very fun. The basic loot system, the basic progression, the crafting system, they all seem very decent and solid as a base to build out on, but that's exactly what they need to do. They need to build out on what they have right now. They need to put a bunch more content into the game, and they just need to give us more reasons to play through it. And to make that happen, I would love to see them make the looting more spicy and more fun, add a generous coating of more polish to pretty much any aspect of the game, and especially work on that audio. Please make the audio better than it is right now, because it's so important both to your immersion but also to your tactical gameplay that you get correct information from the audio. Now, the worry that I did already voice in my first video that I'm going to repeat in this one is that the devs seem to be wanting to go into early access at the end of the year, which is honestly not that far away. So I'm just hoping that they've got a bunch of content in stock, ready to go, ready to slap onto it and just launch with a bunch more content, because if it goes live roughly in the state that we're seeing it now, I think it might be going for a rough launch. But let's hope that that is not the case. I am very excited to see where they take this game, because I think they are on the right path. It just needs a bunch more development and a lot more work into it, and I think this could be a very good game. So I will be keeping my eye out on this game, and you guys can make sure if anything happens, if any news comes out about Marauders, I will be covering it right here on the channel. So if you're interested in that, make sure to hit that sub button down below. Hit a like on the video as well to get us boosted in the algorithm, and leave a comment down below what you think about the future of Marauders. That is going to be it for this video. Those are all my thoughts on Marauders right now, guys. Hopefully we will get another beta or something like that, and we'll be able to get our hands on the game for a longer period of time soon, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.